when did you dive into creating your own content, and how did that evolve?
Yeah, I mean, I was working in TV for a number of years,
Okay.
starting while I was at NYU, and then for years after that. I worked in sports TV and then food TV, but I always made stuff on the side. Like, this is way before even YouTube existed and there was any influencers or any social media at all. I was just the person that like made videos. It was just a passion of mine. And that sort of continued with whatever I happened to be doing. So I made stuff about sports originally, or kind of just school projects or whatever. And then when I was in TV, I've always been freelance. So just when I would have time between gigs, I would just make more videos. Again, like, it's passion of mine. It was a way for me to have a creative outlet to just kind of do whatever I wanted to do away from whatever show I was on. And that was always the intention, because this is before influencer, this is before this whole world existed. So there was no thought to it ever being a full-time job. It was always just supposed to be, hey, here's a place to just be creative.
Yeah. Well, now I watch your content. I'm very impressed, and I'll make this comparison, and some people will say I'm crazy or something, but it's very Anthony Bourdain-esque. Like, you're very articulate in what you're experiencing, your description of the food, and then the types of places you go to, I feel, are very urban, very similar to some of the stuff you would see on a few of his shows. What is that? So obviously you live in New York, so you're doing a lot of New York content, but then I also see a ton of content in Tokyo and, other big urban areas. What's your process there? Like, have you gone everywhere? I've seen your content for a while now, but it seems like I got something else specific I want to talk to you about, was the egg salad. But where do you find, is that your sweet spot in big urban areas, or do you go other places as well?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, comparing yourself to, or being compared to Bourdain, is the ultimate compliment.
Yeah.
I don't say that, but obviously, like, that is what you always want to try and achieve. And I think that, like, one thing that's really funny is, like, my goal was never to be on camera. So I don't know if, like, I have, like, that amazing skill set to be on camera. It's something I've certainly worked on and found my own groove and whatever, but I'm still, like, very critical of myself. And I always think that, like, I'm not the person that could, like, taste something and break down a dish. And I've, again, tried to improve on that or whatever. And I try to kind of do that in the VO instead, where I could really, like, understand the dish more than just taste it or whatever. But then I went back and was watching some of whatever Bourdain it was. I forget, he says so many series. And one huge takeaway I got from it was like, oh, he's not breaking down the dish. Like, he's more just telling you how he feels. And that was, like, really eye-opening to me. I'm like, oh, okay, like, I don't have to be so technical. Like, I'm sure he could be technical. He's an amazing chef.
Sure.
But truly what made him so special was the storytelling and sort of, like, bringing you into that moment to make it feel like you were sitting there with him eating at that table. I think that's what I try to evoke more than anything. But then in terms of, like, where I'm filming, I live in New York City. So obviously a lot of content's there, but then I travel a ton, and I end up traveling almost once a month. But when I travel, I get a lot of content. So I was just back in Japan, and I went back to Korea, but being there for over 3 weeks, I shot 70 videos. I mean, that's months of content. So it seems like I'm traveling even more. I travel a lot. It seems like I'm traveling even more than I am. And that's mostly just and it's mostly big cities. It's just the way I like to travel. It's, I'm there for working. It makes it way easier. And I travel all over. But then also, it's just, there's so many influencers now, especially in New York City, where it's really hard to stand out. Like, am I going to make the 100th video about that same restaurant everyone's going to? Or am I going to go to Houston for a weekend and discover all these new amazing places and kind of tell that story? So I love New York. It's the best food city in the world, but, it's also a business. And just personally too, like, I'm kind of bored sometimes with the same restaurant. So it's fun to travel and kind of share that experience as well.
When did you make the leap from working in some place, working for somebody versus taking this over full time as a creator?
It's been almost 10 years full time being an influencer, creator, whatever.
Awesome.
And, like, at the time, there wasn't really, like, that wasn't the plan. It just kind of all happened. Like I was always freelance and I was on the road a lot producing food travel shows. And I just like kind of needed a break for the first time. And at the time, my Instagram was kind of bubbling, but still very small. But people started making money around me and they were like, you're really close, and just kind of went for it. So I was like, I'll take a break from TV for a few months and just kind of see what happens. And really immediately I made more money than I did in TV, more so because I made no money in TV. But yeah, so like I'll take on little projects when I kind of want to. I'll direct some things. I've been producing some films. I'll do whatever. But those are few and far between.
You get to make that choice. That's beautiful.
Yeah, those aren't like monetary decisions. Those are just like creative decisions more so.
Do you monetize on Instagram and YouTube? Are there other platforms that are lucrative for you?
Yeah, the two biggest platforms are Instagram and TikTok. That's where all the brand partnerships are.
Okay.
It's probably almost split 50-50 between them. TikTok a little less this year just because its uncertainty has hurt that business. But then like the bonus is, like YouTube, payout bonus stuff, Facebook bonus stuff, Snapchat bonus stuff. They all kind of pay out bonuses, which is not a lot, but I'll always take the money.
Sure. It's something. It's frustrating to me because it's unpredictable. You know, we don't depend a lot on the monetization of our channels, but like some months it was like pretty decent, and then other months it's like, okay, I can, the $14 really isn't helping, What do you think about so just thinking about it as a creator and social media, where is, the next trend, or is everything going to stay similar to where it is for the rest of this year? Do you feel, in your opinion, short form video being, the most prominent way to get exposure and get in front of more people? Is there anything else coming down the pipe that you've been thinking about or hearing about?
In terms of like content creation? Or...
Yeah, and just in content creation, is there any trends or anything interesting going on that's been different than the last 2 or 3 years?
I mean, I think it's almost like bounces back and forth. Like even now, when you say like long form versus short form, well, YouTube Shorts could be 3 minutes. Where like that was absurd 5 years ago to make a short form video that's 3 minutes. You were encouraged to do 3 seconds.
Right.
So I kind of see that. I kind of like the long form actually making a bigger comeback.
In vertical format.
Yeah, I mean, I do both, and like you should just kind of do both. But yes, I mean, TikTok very much encourages you to make videos over 1 minute. You could only monetize if your videos are over 1 minute. YouTube kind of it's giving you the ability, and Instagram just went up to 3 minutes also. So they're all realizing that like, yes, we scroll very quickly, but if you actually stop on a video, people watch them. They want information. So I do think there's been a shift to that of people watching. Like, no, people want to know stuff. And like a lot of times in like the platforms that are only 1 minute, like in Facebook, the reels maybe have gone up, but I post the 1 minute reels on Facebook only. And inevitably I get questions and I'm like, God damn it, that was in a 3 minute version, but like I couldn't upload it there. Now I have to answer it. So yeah, I just think there's like a thirst for knowledge.
Yeah. I agree. That's a big part of what we do is try to provide like barbecue education, people that they are, and there's a lot of questions behind, cooking in general. People always are getting started. They're at some level of cooking, and then when they see your content, you don't know if they're experts just getting started or whatever. So it's like always interesting to be in front of more people and different people, and you never know who's going to watch your content. So
I also think the algorithms are getting really good where like if someone is presented your video, they are probably interested in barbecue. You know what I mean? Like it used to be very random where they're okay, maybe they watch 2 seconds because, oh, this is kind of cool, but they weren't really interested in it. But the algorithms are getting so good now. They're like, yeah, like if it's going to find the people that really want to watch your video, and because of that, they're into it.
What is the rest of your year look like as far as content creation? Are you going all in? Do you like set it up so you do multiple videos and then kind of take a break, or do you do 3 videos a week, or how do you set up your content schedule?
Yeah, it's mostly based around the travel, and then I could just like fill in and be casual with it in New York. So because I have so many videos I shot in Japan, now it's like I don't have to go film 1,000 videos in New York. I could just be like, oh, I want to go to that new restaurant. Great, that's a new video. Or I want to try this. So it makes it a much easier time, especially when it gets really hot in New York. Last thing I want to do is be running around with all my gear. So the travel kind of fills. I mean, I still have 50 plus videos from Asia. I still have videos I shot in Toronto. I still have videos I shot in Miami. I shot some stuff in San Francisco. I'm going to LA in 2 weeks. Like I'm in no need to worry about getting content.
Do you do everything yourself? Do you have a team? How does that work?
I do everything myself. The
Everything.
only person, yeah, like I have a manager who deals with when people want to pay me, but in terms of like organic content and the videos people watch, it is 99%. If I get a budget for something, like it's sponsored content and I feel like, okay, I could put that towards someone, great, but that's a few videos a year.
And you do all the editing and everything?
I do everything. Yeah, I mean...
Great job, man. That's very good.
Thank you. I mean, I think like on a monetary level, I couldn't afford to have an editor. And on a creative level, honestly, like I always think like, not because I've hired editors in past, like I've hired editors to help me kind of rethink videos. I'd be like, hey, do this video. And then I kind of see what they did with it. I'm like, oh, that's kind of smart. Just a different perspective. I think it's really helpful sometimes. But by the time I make notes on an edit, I could have just done it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm good at it. I like it. So that's not something, if in the dream scenario, I could just be running around and passing off everything, but that's not really feasible. Like the first thing I'd probably want is someone to film me, I guess, only because I love filming, but I don't get any enjoyment off of filming myself. But again, am I going to pay for someone when I just put on the tripod and
that's what I was going to ask.
Success with it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's so many ways to skin a cat for sure, and you can get, really in the weeds with expenses when you start building a team around everything. It's not cheap, that's for sure.
And especially without a consistent amount. Like I think if you are on YouTube and you're getting that consistent YouTube check every month, and as long as you're kind of doing the same amount of videos, it's pretty consistent. I think then you could start building a team. I think that like the way my money works is, I don't know, I might not make any money this month. And that's fine for me because I've saved up and I can move stuff around and I've prepared for that. But when you have an employee, you can't really tell them, oh, by the way, you're not getting paid this month.
For real.
So it's a little safer this way.
Yeah. So if someone is getting, there's a billion people. They say they interview like grade school kids, and there's more people that want to be influencers than astronauts now. Like that's just what it is, which is crazy. But people getting started, what advice would you give them? What's really important to, if you want to build an audience and, start monetizing yourself online, what are some of the, first 3 steps you have to take?
The first thing is like, well, okay, what do you want to talk about? Like I was speaking at a Fordham business class last week, and someone was asking me sort of that same question about like, how do you create content around you being a brand? And it's basically like, I don't know what that means. What do you mean create content? Like create content around you being a brand? Like, no, you have to create content around something. Like I think back in the day, it was when it was just photos and it's very easy to kind of sell a lifestyle thing of like, look at me at this restaurant, look at me playing golf. I don't know, whatever. I don't think that works anymore. I think that could work if you're a celebrity. If you achieve fame somewhere else, you could very easily go on Instagram and post photos of you just doing normal things and you'll get a ton of engagement. I think now you have to come at it with some expertise. So it's like, okay, what are you actually able to be an expert on? Are you able to have enough information, enough to say, to never talk about anything else ever? But then 2, the more important thing is like, realize that then that's whatever your passion is, isn't your passion anymore. It's a job. And two, the job is not what your passion is. The job is to make videos. I think that like you hear a lot about, creator burnout and this or that. And I've never felt that way, because at the end of the day, I love food and I love traveling and I love everything that like I'm talking about and posting about. But at the end of the day, what I'm actually passionate about is making videos itself. I made videos in high school. I made videos in college. I worked in TV. This has always been my job because that part of it is my passion. So like, are you prepared to basically be a production company? And if not,
that's it.
Maybe just have a passion. I don't know, passion. You could have a passion and not make videos about it. Why ruin what is you're so passionate about?
Yeah. Yeah, I try to talk to people about that too, is you have to find your niche, what you're going to talk about, and you got to be comfortable talking about it a lot and over again. You know, one thing that I've realized over the last couple of years is, you know, we try to always come up with new ideas and be creative and everything like that, but in our field, people really like watching brisket being trimmed and being smoked and being sliced, you know? So we've come up with so many different versions of trimming brisket and slicing brisket and brisket this way, brisket in this smoker. And you know, for the rest of the time I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to be talking about brisket, and I just have to be comfortable with that. And just because I've talked about it a bunch doesn't mean the person on the other side of the screen hasn't heard it a bunch, you know, and they're still interested. And one of my other friends says it is play the hits. You know, people like seeing, it's just like, you know, Jimi Hendrix music is great. Even though you've heard the same song 300 times, you still listen to that song. So it doesn't mean you can't do similar content. And I think some people struggle with that, but yeah, I'm learning it myself.
I mean, that's what I tell them. Like, you have to rinse and repeat and do the same video 10,000 different times, 10,000 different ways, but close enough, which is hard for me because I'm always in a different city at a different restaurant, whatever. But that's why I like keep the beats the same, keep the format the same, try and deliver the same video, even if like the details are different.
I love it. I love it. Let me tell you why. I love that part of the video. It's like you give it a short intro, and then let me tell you why. And I think that's great. I really, really enjoyed that cadence of it. And that's your style. You know, it's one of your videos, and I think it's beautiful.